Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to our spoiler-free Deadpool 2 first reactions. All right, Dragon. So, unfortunately, folks, we, due to some scheduling conflicts, we didn't get to do this last night. And I actually had to leave the theater for a family crisis. So, Dragon, I've seen this movie 1.5 times. And let me tell you, that first act is really good on a rewatch, man. It sets everything up really well. But point being, Deadpool 2, Dragon, this is a movie that I feel like you and I have both really been looking forward to, but it's also been in the shadow of Infinity War. And I gotta tell you, I've had kind of a roller coaster of a ride with this movie because there's been some trailers I've liked. There's been some gags in the trailers I didn't like. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about the X-Force movie, about the X-Force side of things. Dragon, I'm sure you were a little bit more confident in it, but with your side of things, you kept telling me really cryptically, like, you just didn't want it to end up like Ted 2.
Exactly, and I tell you this, it wasn't as nightmarish as the night before, because I kept anticipating like first Deadpool movie. I was going to fear like the week of, and like kind of that as the clock is winding down. Like it would keep me up at night, just wondering, oh god, what if it goes horribly wrong? What if it doesn't? What if it isn't as fantastic as I know it's going to be? And in the case of Deadpool 2, I was fearing Ted 2 as like kind of my doomsday theory on like my worst case scenario for Deadpool 2.
That's the thing, is like Ted 2 is not even technically a bad movie. It's just really, really average and doesn't live up to the first movie at all.
I'm saying the marketing was really good for Ted 2 and hyped everybody up, and then of course it was kind of over a barrel in many respects.
Yeah.
And my point is, so instead of having, basically, I was anticipating kind of the Ted 2 fear, and honestly, I was just so excited about it, I couldn't sleep the night before. I was like, oh boy, it's gonna be so good. I mean, I was eagerly anticipating. I rewatched all the DVD features and everything, watched all the marketing, compiled like playlists and all the marketing from the first movie and the second movie. So I was very excited for it.
All right, so Dragon, is this your Ted 2?
Thank goodness, no, it's not Ted 2.
Okay. So I take it you liked it.
Yes, I refer you, just for the simplest way I can put my first reaction to this movie, the first watch, would be I refer you to the yes clip from Thor Ragnarok. Basically, like elongate that for about an hour and 50 minutes or so. That's pretty much my reaction to the movie.
Nice. Okay, Dragon, I'm just gonna say flat out, I fucking love this movie. This is honestly, I'll say definitively, Infinity War is obviously the bigger event movie, right? It's obviously the bigger pop culture event. I think Deadpool 2 is definitively the better movie. And I will also say, Dragon, I'm not sure how you feel about this. You're obviously a lot more passionate. The original Deadpool movie was kind of like your cinematic baby in a lot of ways. I think this is definitively a better movie than the first one. And Dragon, I actually have a perfect comparison because I understand completely if people like the first movie better. But to me, the comparison kind of came to mind right away. And this is going to seem like an odd out of left field comparison, but I swear to God, it works. The first movie is Wayne's World. This movie is Wayne's World 2.
Huh.
Wayne's World 2 is not as coherently fine-tuned as the first Wayne's World. And I will say that about Deadpool 2. It's like Deadpool 2, there's a lot more moving parts to it, whereas Deadpool 1 was very simple. Deadpool 1 was a very simple origin story. However, much in the same way, I'm not sure how long it's been since you've seen Wayne's World 2, Dragon, but Wayne's World 2 is known for just pushing all the fourth wall stuff, going above and beyond, going balls to the walls with the comedy. And Dragon, I honestly don't remember the last time I've laughed harder in a theater than in Deadpool 2. Like, this movie is, it's got the family thing going on. It's like Deadpool kind of, sorry, I'm kind of dancing around gags here, but this, like, it's a family story in a lot of ways. It's very much, it's got a lot of thematic tissue to it. It's got a lot of oomph to it. it's not quite like the first movie was definitely a romance movie, and this movie is a family movie. But I would say just in terms of the sheer volume of gags and just the setups and payoffs and the creativity, I don't know. I got to admit, I'm like, I was expecting to like this movie. In no universe did I think I was going to dislike this movie, but I wasn't expecting to be glowing about it. And I will say, Dragon, this movie is definitely a love letter to the Rob Liefeld era of comic books in a really, really fun way.
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah.
So yeah, I hands on the table, Dragon. This is my Deadpool movie, honestly.
So I had a fantastic viewing experience with this one. I saw it in Dolby. You know, the first movie, because every time I tried to see like
The
Black
first
Panther,
half of the movie, first time I saw it in Dolby. So hey, go ahead.
I mean, like, you know, I tried seeing Black Panther and Infinity War in Dolby. Unfortunately, did not get a chance to, because again, you know, got my tickets when I could, and of course, just Dolby sold out instantly. Anyway, so basically for two of the biggies this year, for Deadpool 2 and Incredibles 2, honestly, both two movies I'm secured in for Dolby.
I'm still waiting for my theater to get Incredibles 2 tickets.
So, I mean, it was electric. Everyone was very much in tune in the theater with their reactions. It was, it was delightful. The whole row of my buddies, it was like, oh, we were, we were all having a blast. And I'll tell you this, I called a major plot. I won't believe me. I'll dance around this here. Believe it or not, I actually called a major plot point of this movie after the first Deadpool movie came out.
You absolutely did, yeah.
I was theorizing. How Deadpool 2 might go down, just based on kind of the comics and kind of how that story usually goes. And here's the thing, I absolutely called it. Yet the marketing, as all the great viral marketing, all the trailers and stuff, it came out. It distracted me from that, so I still ended up getting surprised by it. It's like, oh my god, let's just say there's a moment in this movie. I'm going to dance around here. I'll get into it more when we do the spoiler cast, of course. But let's just say there's a moment in this movie that has the same resonance for me as a Deadpool fan. That basically, there was the moment in the first movie where you had the moment that basically communicated to me that Ryan Reynolds, he understands Deadpool on that fundamental level, beyond the comedy of it all. Basically, it's like the most comic book you can get Deadpool on screen. It's not just the over-the-top fun action and everything. It's the like that scene in the first movie, the Stanley, what we cited recently with the Stanley cameo list, the you can't buy love, but you can rent it for 3 minutes. The whole Wade spotting Vanessa, but when he tries to reconnect with her, but he can't bear to bring himself to it, and you see the love in his eyes, and he walks off. Like, that was my moment from the first movie. That was like, for me as a Deadpool fan, that's one where the movie, like, it did everything I could have possibly wanted for it. And there's a moment akin to that. Now, again, it's not the same type of scene, but it's a moment that is like a deep Deadpool pull from the comics that I never imagined we would get, and I was like, oh my god, I could.
You'll have to tell me off air.
I couldn't ask for any more, and it was so brilliant what they did.
I mean, I know what it's connected to. I'm just not sure exactly what the moment is. So
I know. Well, never mind. Now I know, because the whole two Ewan thing. So I was about to say, let's just say it's I don't want to give it away. The point is, it's a really.
All right, well, Dragon, allow me to dance around my favorite moment in the movie, okay?
All right.
So, I was pretty vocal when I believe it was the second trailer hit, and I wasn't a big fan of the whole concept of the X-Force, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without giving away a single thing, Dragon, what they did with the X-Force in this movie was goddamn amazing. And I loved every second of it.
Makes you eager to see the X-Force movie, doesn't it?
It really does. Yeah, honestly. Oh my god.
Yep.
And Peter, oh my god. Freaking Peter.
Peter was wonderful.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I'm sorry, go on. Anything else you want to kind of hype up about said moment?
No, honestly, like I said, you'll just have to wait for the spoiler cast. But let's just say, like, when I realized what was happening, Dragon, I was just like, oh, hell yes. Oh, we're doing this. We're doing this.
Let me say this too. I want to cover basically what we kind of have in our image here: Domino and Cable. So, of course, these are huge characters, and of course, Domino and Deadpool were introduced. They both share a first appearance in New Mutants '98.
uh
And so Domino was honestly the only casting I was going to this movie with that was a little trepidatious. Again, it wasn't like casting aspersions or anything. It wasn't like making me worry. It was just like I'm not 100% sold on it, and it was Domino. And after seeing the movie, I think Domino, she was a lot of fun. And here's the thing: I think maybe I don't think like I got to see it on a second viewing, and honestly, I really got to see how it goes in the future with Domino, because Domino's going to be coming back, obviously. She's a fixture in Deadpool's world, so she'll be back. But like maybe she's not the perfect casting, like a Ryan Reynolds. Maybe she's not perfect casting. But here's the thing: I think she's just right for the movie. It's just right for what they're going for. She's just right for what the tone of the movie is. I mean, it was like they had the just.
I think she's like a really, really good counter to Deadpool, where she's like, she's unhinged, but she's a different type of unhinged than Deadpool is.
I'd say, I mean, again, she's just. I want to make it clear. I'm not trying to like just say like, hey, it's not perfect, and just have that be what it is. I'm just saying it's perfect for like doing a movie with Deadpool, and she fits into that world so well, and she complements that. It's just like it's not as like it's recognized like you could like rewrite everything you know about a character with this cinematic interpretation. Domino, it's like what, and bear in mind, it's all like I got to see where they go with her in the future to really have that change. So I'm just like on our first like kind of viewing, it's not like as like it's clear because like when Black Panther was introduced in Civil War, it wasn't like oh my god, I love this version of Black Panther so much. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I was very entertained by her, and she hit all basically she checked all the Domino boxes for me. She did all the stuff I was hoping they would do to reflect Domino. So all of that was like they checked it. I got to see more of her to kind of like I'm excited to see more of her. All right.
So Josh Brolin, he's having a month.
Yeah, Tiki's just having one of those months, It's like kind of like a Bizarro slump. He's having a Bizarro slump of a month. He's just like, yeah, Josh Brolin can't. He's so talented. Look at him. He just has to dazzle everybody in his movies, right?
Oh, seriously though, Dragon, I think we got the best of both worlds with Cable, where we kind of got him as an intimidating villain, and also we got kind of the this could be the beginning of a beautiful bromance.
Absolutely. So Cable was, without getting too into it, let's just say Cable was properly fleshed out yet simple, and that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping to get because Cable, and that's the gag, Tegan, especially after seeing the game. I mean, I'm sure you know this. Cable, he's a very convoluted character.
Oh yeah.
And Deadpool mocks him for this constantly. And what we did here is we had just enough. Like we didn't over convolute him, but there's definitely room for that, literally in the future. But again, like he has that complexity, but they kept him simple so it wouldn't overcomplicate the plot. So I think they got Cable just right as well. But I mean, don't wrong. I mean, Cable a little bit more definitively than Domino's. I mean, Josh Brolin, man, that looks like Cable, and they made fun of the height. I'll spoil that. They made fun of the whole height difference. Because Cable is like one of those like impossible casting situations, like Colossus, where you have to you need a super tall guy. You can only do so much.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of Colossus, he was definitely another big highlight.
Yes, and I tell you one thing, Stefan Kapsik, Kapisic, sorry, Stefan Kapisic, he delivered his promise to me when I ran into him. He delivered that Colossus would have an expanded role in Deadpool 2, and it was going to be great, and it was going to deliver, and boy did it. Man of his word, that's Stefan. He's good man.
There's a couple side characters I sort of wish would have gotten a little bit more to do. Like Blind Al kind of sticks out.
Blind Al actually got more than I thought they were going to do with her in the movie. I thought we got a good amount of Blind Al.
Fair enough. TJ Miller, honestly, at this point, Dragon, I've said this before, I'll say it again. It's just kind of weird to see that guy still working, all things considered.
You gotta admit, though, I mean, this and Ready Player One, he's still pretty good. I mean, in terms of his acting.
Okay, Ready Player One is one thing. Honestly, I'm kind of a little, to me, I'm sorry, Dragon, this is one of the few times, Weasel's one note for me. I'm kind of sick of the whole, oh, gee, Wade, you smell like a guy in the Civil War who's already got gangrene, his wound took a shit in the other wound. I don't know, that stuff is getting really old.
Well, I mean, he's not going to be back for any more, so I'm just kind of like more casting out.
I'm just saying, like that gag in particular is kind of like the one time this movie really suffered from sequelitis, where it's like, okay, that joke worked in the first movie, so we're really gonna have to hammer it in this movie.
Well, they gave Weasel kind of an affect where he's the comparison guy, and they kind of self-aware reference this with let's just say they we'll say this much as like close to a spoiler we'll get here is that Domino she sees Deadpool without his mask for the first time, and of course, like I love the way it almost like rolls his eyes here. Like, he knows that it's coming. That basically she like is looking for the words to describe it. Then Weasel steps in, and of course, again, it's kind of it's a meta. It's kind of a meta.
That was fine. That was fine. Like I said, it was more like the him describing how he smells thing at the opening that I thought was kind of old.
Right.
Anyways.
Anyway, so I guess wrapping up here, let me say this. I have a statement, I think, on the movie.
Okay.
So I think at the end of the day, you have three perspectives to take into account here. I think Deadpool fans are going to love this. The general audience will enjoy it thoroughly. So even if that's just someone who comes in, even without seeing the first movie, I think they're going to come away like happy and entertained. Again, you don't need.
Dragon, can I just address like again, it's hard to dance around it because especially since this is something that happens at the very beginning. But let's just say the obvious spoiler that we can't talk about that happens at the very beginning. I've heard really, really mixed opinions about. I've heard people like I've heard it both ways. I've heard people say it's it kind of goes a long way towards informing the character. I've also heard other people say it's it undoes some stuff. I'm sorry, Dragon. I'm kind of dancing around, but you know what I mean? It's like I feel like that move is kind of like the most controversial thing this movie has going on right now from the general zeitgeist that I've seen.
Right.
Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
Anyway, so points. I think the general audience is still going to enjoy it. It's going to be a real entertaining, funny action movie. So I think at the end of the day, people are going to be general audience is going to receive it well as well. So audiences are going to love it. Deadpool fans are going to love it. General audiences are going to really like it. Critics, third perspective here. I think critics. I have a sense that critics, and not just like critics, I'm saying people, if they really look into like a fine tooth comb and a critical eye, I think you might find some plot points. I'm perceiving.
Well, this is kind of where my Wayne's World versus Wayne's World 2 comparison comes in. Like, I feel like Deadpool 2 does more than Deadpool does, but at the same time, just structurally speaking, the original Deadpool might just be a little bit more conventional and sound.
Yes. And so yeah, I mean, I think there's those with that. I think you're gonna have some plot points that the critics could kind of like look into and kind of start to tear apart kind of the film if they like kind of look at these plot points and try to kind of structurally deconstruct the film. Like kind of take away the structure and start to kind of dissolve it by that. However, I will say this: I feel Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick in the writing, you can sense this. They accounted for a lot of hesitancy and a lot of sequelitis. I mean, they prepared for a lot of that. And I mean, they knew what they were doing in writing this. I'm really excited to see it a second time, see how that holds up. So again, I think worst case scenario, the critics might be able to take some shots at the plot, but at the end of the day, I really don't think it's like going to take down the movie or anything, or really just like kind of. I know it'll be interesting to see how this movie fares on like a thorough analysis. But I mean, right now, again, I'm loving it. My end feeling on it is I think it's as good as Deadpool.
Okay, I can respect that.
It's not better than. Bear in mind, I'm always going to have a fondness for the first one over anything. But by the same token, looking at the objective, I would make an argument that it's good as the first Deadpool, not better than, but it measures up. And honestly, that's all you can ask of any sequel. You want it to measure up. All right, it's what you want. At the end of the day, you want it to measure up. Expect the best case scenario, it could exceed it, but let's be practical. So have it measure up and have it be like a good follow-up, a consistent follow-up that does something a little different. And of course, is still fundamentally what you want and what you like from the first movie. So it definitely measures up, and that's all I really could have asked for Deadpool 2. I was very happy going into it and coming out of it. So Deadpool 2, I highly recommend it to everybody out there.
All right, folks, thank you so much for watching, and we will be diving into this movie in a full-blown spoiler cast on Sunday evening, so be sure to join us for that. In the meantime, don't forget to grab your chimichangas and give a good old salute to our dear friend Peter, because everyone loves Peter almost as much as Ivy.
Safeguard